here with Coleman Ayers.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Absolutely, man. Anytime.
Yeah. So we've been fortunate enough to work together for a couple years now.
Very long time.
Yeah.
It's probably what, 2021 is when we started, so
yeah,
4 years.
Right after COVID, a little bit like mid-COVID, right after COVID.
Damn.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Time flies.
It does. It does indeed, man.
Well, let's start there. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about who you are, what your business is, where you're located.
Easy. Sounds good. My name is Coleman Ayers, but run by any means basketball, which has taken a number of different forms over the years, but in a short sense, we just try to spread different basketball ideas, unique, innovative basketball ideas. Obviously, most of them are training, but also some team coaching as well, and business ideas around the world, and kind of be ahead of the curve on that. So, yeah, it really all started probably a decade ago, but the business, I would say, started kind of right before we met, like 2021, where we opened up a facility in Miami. That was the first of hopefully many, but a few that we have now rolling in terms of our academies. That kind of marked the transition, at least personally, from like a basketball trainer to also somebody who is very interested in the business side and more. And then from there, just through kind of some lucky breaks, started traveling internationally a bit. That opened up everything for me, not only in terms of like building the brand and the reach worldwide, but also just seeing the perspective of what basketball is, what it can be, the room for improvement around the world, obviously gaining connections and learning from people around the world. So since then, we've expanded a pretty good amount, obviously on the basketball side, continued to grow the brand, build connections, et cetera, but then also expanding to the 7 locations that we have now. And then, some of the things that we're innovating and offering on the business side as well. So it's been an interesting journey, man, but hopefully we're just getting started here.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I mean, so just to recap, like for everyone listening, 7 locations. And if I was a parent of an athlete, like what would be your main offer in those 7 locations? Like how are you helping basketball athletes in these 7 locations?
Yes, absolutely. So we do identify with kind of a new style of basketball training that is very dependent and based on creativity, innovation. A lot of the science is coming out on motor learning, skill acquisition, but then also just really building a culture and investing the bulk of the time into building a place where athletes feel at home, where they can get everything that they need out of this process, where we approach it super holistically. So usually the pitch amongst all of our locations is, once again, you're going to get a different experience on the court. You're going to get a completely different experience in terms of just the vibe that you feel and the comfort that you feel and the personal development that you gain as an athlete. And then in a lot of these locations as well, we've started to approach it by combining the development and quote unquote the performance side of things in terms of like the AAU, the travel ball, where athletes actually have to go out and perform in these tournaments, and offering everything in one place and delivering really all the needs that you will ever have as a young athlete in one place and start to be kind of the anti-AAU program with Adapt Academy is what our club is called. So yeah, the more that we can holistically, I guess, combine everything into one place, the better. That's been the goal of the last 3 or 4 years, to make sure that these athletes, regardless of the location that you're in, have a home and a home that they look forward to going to every single day.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love how you said that there. I mean, what's really interesting in working with so many coaches across the nation at CoachIQ, I've loved how you have continued to innovate on what is the best experience for a parent and an athlete. And it's also been really cool to watch you travel around the world to figure that out.
Yeah.
So you tested it first in Miami. You started as just training.
Yes.
You were just a training facility.
Yep.
Walk through what were some of the issues with that, or what were the shortcomings of that? What'd you learn? And then what'd you learn abroad, which kind of landed you here at 7 locations with this holistic model?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the biggest drawbacks of training, and this is dependent on the market, some cities, demographics, markets, whatever, are way more receptive to basketball training, or they are more dependent on basketball training, where they feel like they have to be, or their athlete, their child, whatever, has to be training, multiple times per week to not fall behind everyone else. Most places, that's not the case. In Miami and also in San Diego, which were kind of our two first locations that we experimented with this, there was only so much that we could provide to them when we knew that the priority was always going to be club basketball or AAU basketball. Now, why that is the priority is a much longer conversation. I think
we can dive into that later.
Yeah, we can talk about that. And I think most people are on the same page that you don't get everything you need out of AAU. There are a lot of drawbacks of AAU, but when done in a, holistic and with the right intentions, AAU is pretty good, and you get a lot of benefits. And you can see that on the world scale. Like I would attribute a lot of USA basketball success to the competitiveness of the youth basketball system. But once again, there are significant drawbacks there. There are a lot of pain points that parents would come into us in Miami with about AAU, whether it's, the amount of games, whether it's the amount of money that they have to invest in it, and then also be training, whether it's, how they're being treated, the fact that, they're not really training to develop, but more so training to perform at these tournaments. And there's a lot of pressure on their 12-year-old athletes. So this was all kind of concurrently happening as we were traveling throughout Europe, a couple times a year, and seeing how they do things over there.
So you were getting the pain points live in Miami.
Yes, exactly.
Just running training, while also traveling to Europe and seeing all these different club models and all these different things. And that's kind of what...
Exactly. And then we go, hey, why don't we combine these things where we take the positives of Europe and beyond and the positives of American basketball and put them all together in one. And that's how we came up with Adapt Academy.
Yeah. Really interesting too, because with how many facility owners that we see at CoachIQ and we power, you're spot on. Like I was thinking of a couple facilities that we power right now where they focus purely on development.
Yeah.
Like, and they're large. They're large businesses.
Yeah, for sure.
And they have a good AAU ecosystem outside of it.
Yes.
And they do phenomenal, but they don't need to dip into kind of the holistic, but it really just depends on the market.
Yes.
Right? Like on where you're, but you would say as a whole though, across the United States, you probably would say, I wish I saw more holistic, more all one-stop shops.
I think so. I mean, for me, it's like you have two variables to balance here. You have the business side and then the impact side, right? For us, if we're in a location where the training side of things is put up on a pedestal by the local community and people are willing to invest in it at a high rate, you likely, from a business standpoint, don't need to or should not go into the AAU side of things because you have just an influx of politics that comes with that. However, for us, there have been situations where we go, look, we can make a much bigger impact on these athletes if we know, based on the people that we educate, vet, and bring into our system through by any means, that if these athletes have a chance to play for a club like Adapt Academy, where we really hold high standards, we emphasize the culture over anything. We've developed systems on the back end that make everything a lot smoother for our coaches so they can only focus on delivering a positive experience for athletes. We know that all these athletes that we care about are going to have a much better youth basketball experience and thus childhood by being a part of our program. So it's tough to balance that. I don't think it's for everyone. I see a lot of programs who do it the wrong way, where they set out and, you'll see hundreds of programs around the country that are like, we do AAU basketball the right way. But then they have a shitty kid who comes in, shitty meaning like their character, their attitude, maybe the problems that their parent creates or whatever the case may be. And they put them in a situation where, are you going to take a bad attitude or a bad, parent, a cancerous parent for X amount of money a month, or are you going to uphold your standards? And what most of those people do, they take the parent and the kid because they have $500 or however much amount in front of them. And that's kind of a chain reaction that we see a lot of the time. And it starts these programs where, again, they set out to do good things and the intentions weren't bad. But when you're tempted with money, that's when everything kind of gets tested. And not to say that we just have more resistance to these urges, but I think we have a better perspective of like long term. We need to ensure that our image, our systems, our culture, our in place, and without that, you turn into every other AU program,
Totally.
and you sacrifice that short-term gain for long-term success.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just love how deliberate you are, right? Like how many people start an AAU program, they're just not deliberate at all. Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
we'll take
100%.
anybody.
Yes.
You know, we're not really thinking about the parent experience. We'll do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
That type of thing.
Yeah.
So
Especially these days, man. Everyone's doing it, and I get it. It's a good business opportunity for sure to capitalize on what youth sports has become in the U.S., but you have to balance it out with the right intentions.
Totally. All right, so let's go now into, based on everything you've seen, what you've created, you've traveled all over the world and seen basketball culture everywhere. What, if you could design the youth basketball experience from the ground up in the United States, what do you think, from the perspective of what do you think would be the best for the athlete?
Right.
And you're kind of working on it right now.
Right,
You're taking steps of doing that. 7 locations. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, if we can develop a little snapshot or niche of the market that does it, hopefully the right way, then I'm cool with that. But yeah, I would say, there's a lot from even just a rule standpoint that I don't agree with, whether it's, and we don't have to get into all this, but like limited zone defense early on, I think would be fantastic to completely eliminate zone defense. Add shot clocks, have players play on like a lower basket, all these, more technical basketball rules or standards
that would
I
foster
believe
a better competition environment.
100%. And obviously create more of an engaging experience for athletes, I think, and just create a better style of play and more adaptable players, better thinking players. Now, on the macro scale, I would say, I do think there should be significantly more regulation. And mind you, all this has to come from a federation like USA Basketball, in my opinion, should be responsible for these things. I think.
Doesn't NBA have a
NBA has something like they have the junior NBA, but it's more so like to spread their name. I think USA Basketball, and I'll just say this freely, I don't think they really care that much about the youth basketball scene. Or maybe they don't have the resources to do it. I'm sure they care about it. Whatever the case is, USA Basketball doesn't do nearly enough. Because
who are they? I'm not even familiar really with. I know the name, obviously, but
right.
Do you know?
It's essentially the basketball. So every country has a basketball federation.
And who governs it? And who's the?
Honestly, I couldn't even tell you who is responsible for what should be happening in the youth basketball space, right? And that's probably just my lack of research that's being done.
Well, if there's someone to know about it, it'd be you and I probably.
Yeah, for sure. and I've tried to connect with USA Basketball plenty of times, being like, look, I just want to like spread some ideas with you guys. But again, that's neither here nor there. In other countries, federations are the ones who set the rules, who filter, who vet. And in my opinion, baseline AAU programs should be vetted by somebody at USA Basketball. They should have to go through an actual education process versus the USA Basketball coaching course, which, by the way, is not required for the majority of AAU tournaments.
So anybody could just start an
anybody
AAU
can start one, and they do, right? And that's the thing, is that if you have a way with your words to convince parents and players that you're going to do right for them, you will probably start a successful AAU program, and you have no idea how to do that.
Parents are so unaware of what a good coach looks like, what a good program looks like. So it's like a new turnover of parents every year that are completely unaware.
And then eventually, over the course of their child's development, they identify the pain points, but by that time, their child hates basketball and they're done with it.
Yep, exactly. And then the new parent comes in to experience the same exact thing.
And so for me, USA Basketball should be requiring that every coach goes through I don't want to say extensive, but at least a sufficient education process. Again, I took the USA Basketball coaching course recently for a live period tournament, and I just clicked through it, and it took me 30 minutes.
And
I
you didn't
learned
think too highly?
Nothing. Nothing. And I'm not sitting here to say, like by any means, coach's certification should be like what USA Basketball uses. I don't care what it is. It just needs to be something that is a barrier of entry to where if it's a 2-month long process of like going through stuff, doing more interactive exercises.
And does the federation in Europe have this, or
100%?
How do they do it?
Most European countries have, number one, you have to get FIBA licensed to different levels. So I believe like
I've seen that for soccer.
Yes, it's pretty similar, right? So if you want to be like under 12U, you have to get level 1 and then move up the ranks to where it's pretty extensive, where like you're taking almost a full I don't want to say college course, but like if you want to coach at high levels, you have to do that.
Well, you know what's crazy too is like people just brush it off like, oh, anyone can become an AAU coach. Yeah, that's bad, but also what you're developing a kid.
Right.
You're taking in an
100%.
8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 15-year-old, the most developed years, development intensive years.
Yes.
you have to be an amazing person to help develop that athlete and an amazing coach.
Absolutely.
So the fact that we're just like, hey, anybody can do it,
right,
is terrible.
100%. And even like, I mean, I think a simple fix is at big AAU tournaments. Number one, not just anybody should be able to run a tournament, just like they shouldn't be able to start a program. You should be highly vetted to be able to run massive AAU tournaments.
Yeah.
Then you should have a representative from USA Basketball pop into these AAU tournaments. You don't have to be at everyone, but just vet. Make sure that when I'm coaching a game, I don't have a ref who's looking at their phone. And then go to the tournament organizer and say, you're ruining the experience for these coaches or for these players who are paying a lot of money and, you know, getting developed. And then you can look at the coaches and see who's exercising poor behavioral techniques with their athletes and yelling at them. And, you know, there should be more of a vetting process. There should be more of an evaluation process. And that goes for teams. That goes for tournaments. That goes for the entire ecosystem.
Super interesting. The NBA is not more involved in this. It seems like such an opportunity for them to get in at the grassroots.
Yeah. And even like, I mean, I'm sure they've thought of this idea and there's a reason why they're not doing it. And this would probably screw us over. But I've always been surprised that the NBA doesn't have club teams under their organizations.
Oh, interesting. Is
in
that
Europe,
how Europe does it?
Yeah, you got Real Madrid and you got Real Madrid Youth.
Totally.
For the most part, professional organization is also a club team at the youth level. Yeah. So I've always wondered why Miami Heat doesn't have the biggest, you know, club in all of Miami, considering the resources and you know, how that system could work in terms of feeding into that organization, into the NBA. But there's probably reasons why they don't. I'm just curious why at some point the NBA does not invest at least a task force into understanding what we can do to fix even just parts. I don't think we're ever going to fix the ecosystem, but just parts of the ecosystem that could help the product improve over time.
I would have to say probably the fragmentation is like to think, even as the NBA with all the resources, all their players, everything like that, like, oh, we're going to come in and we want to fight the fragmentation is probably where they get pretty scared. And then it's always changing. NIL just dropped.
Yeah,
it's like
it's a super dynamic, like fluid environment, and the fact of the matter is like we're in a very capitalistic country where you know that's not a bad thing at all. However, if you want to consolidate how things are done from such a massive industry right now, that is very difficult to do, and it would take people who are pretty high up in literally the U.S. government to appoint U.S. basketball to do these things, and that's the last of their worries.
They're not concerned about that at all right now.
There's bigger things to focus on.
But if there was one thing that I would say, it goes back to that child development, youth development, sports development. Like if you're investing in your youth and it's a good experience and they're becoming great humans, like that's a pretty big investment in your...
I agree. And a lot of people play basketball in the U.S. And a lot of people could potentially become better people.
Totally,
for basketball
100%.
in the U.S. So,
well, also, you know, like with what you do for a living and with what we do for a living, you think about where a parent can spend money, right? Like spending $200 to $300. I'm a dad right now. If I'm a dad right now, me spending $200 or $300 for him to spend 2 days a week with you, I'm ecstatic. Right? Like you're a good human. You're developing him in the sport. You're challenging him. You're teaching him. He's not listening to me at home when I'm punishing him and stuff like that too. Like there's so much to it where, and that's why I think it's such an unbelievable industry. One, from a perspective of what you do and what you give to the athletes every day, but two, also why I think, you know, it's huge. Parents spend so much money because they get so much more out of it than just the sport development too.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's something we've really tried to emphasize. And I've always come from the belief of like, all right, we as trainers and coaches can only help these players so much. And I've always tried to downplay the effect that we can have on young, like, you know, men and women, until I started to see some of the testimonials that we get from all of our locations. And until I start to talk to parents who I've been working with their athletes for years, and I'm just like, holy shit, like we really make a big impact. And I don't think that's to be understated. And I think when you emphasize that more than you emphasize the on-court side of things, or at least use the on-court side of things as a Trojan horse to get into the development side of things, the human development side of things, not only can you make more of an impact, but you can also keep them around for longer.
Totally.
And, you know, we probably have athletes who they're not ever going to play college basketball, and they know that. And we have plenty of these. And, but why they're around is because they love the environment. Their parents love how they're developing as a human, their social skills, their confidence, the whole nine. And again, I don't think that can be understated. Like you invest a lot into the school system, but kids don't care about school and you don't see results there. It's only getting worse versus potentially investing time and ensuring that the right people are coaches. And, that I believe at least that will have a much larger impact on the youth than a lot of different things that are happening. So.
Totally, 100%. On that note too, what would you say this whole journey, this whole business you've created, 7 locations, what would you say is the most fulfilling thing for you doing this?
I think for me, obviously there are a lot of things that are fulfilling, right? How many players can experience the methods and the culture that we've created and worked very hard to scale through all of our locations. But for me, it's helping other people like myself who are passionate about basketball, youth development, and business, but mainly the first two, develop like legit full-time careers out of this, to the point where they can not only feed their family, but live good lives and then go on to make even more of an impact because they are financially able to and comfortable and flexible. So seeing other coaches, whether they're By Any Means Academies or whether they're just clients for us at By Any Means Business, seeing other coaches in basketball and outside of basketball who are able to like move into a nicer house that, provides more space for their kids, or go on a trip, a vacation they've been wanting to forever, but they haven't been able to because they don't have enough money, nor do they have enough time to step away from their business. Seeing these things helps me, or I would say, I'll put it this way, seeing these things not only encourages me that they are impacting more athletes, but that this is a very scalable way to help develop quality coaches who over time, change the lives of thousands of athletes. So yeah, I would say that's probably honestly easily the most fulfilling part of what we do. And that's how I've always approached it. Like, you can affect 100 athletes as a coach, but if you affect 100 coaches, you can then affect thousands of athletes.
Totally.
And then kind of going in that totem pole is it's a fun process.
100%. Hey, I just want to take a quick break. My name's Russell. I'm one of the founders of CoachIQ. We put on this podcast here. Our goal is to interview top coaches and business owners in the youth sports space across the United States and give you guys insight on the ground floor. How are they running their business? What do they think about the current ecosystem? And what are their thoughts on where things are going? So we're super excited to bring this to you guys. If you don't know about us, we are an all-in-one sports management platform. We run a lot of the businesses that we have on the podcast. And we're fortunate enough now to work with about 1,000 sports coaches across the United States. And it's our goal to make your life as easy as possible in running the business itself. Website, scheduling, payment management, everything handled seamlessly on our platform. And really what separates us is we are built specifically for sports. We're not powering nail salons. We're not powering Pilates studios. Every second of the day, we focus on you. So if that's something you need where you're looking to get your time back or you're looking to actually grow your business, CoachIQ is really the only platform thinking about you every single day, interviewing and working with the top coaches in the industry, specific to sports. So if that's something we can help you with, we would love to connect with you. You can visit our website, coachiq.com, schedule a free demo there. The demos are awesome. It's really less about selling and much more about just walking through what we've learned and providing value on what other coaches are doing. And if it's a match, it's a match. So absolute no-brainer. Go schedule a demo. Totally worth the time. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for customers who are working with us. It allows us to do all this, make better product, and the main goal, help athletes all across the United States and the world get a phenomenal experience from you guys, the coaches. Okay, so switching gears a little bit, let's move into like the actual tactics of running a great business as a sports coach, as a facility owner. So to start, let's start with what's probably the biggest mistake you see across the board, seeing all these coaches and these business owners. Where do they struggle the most and you see them running into issues most often?
Honestly, just having no systems in place. I think a lot of trainers run their businesses like services. They don't, and this makes sense. I didn't have much experience working in actual larger businesses where you have SOPs, where you have systems in place, where you have different methods through which you can take time off your plate, make more money, scale the business further. They don't even think about like hiring systems to ensure that they are taken out of the business at some point so that they can retire and try other things and use hopefully the money that they've created in other ways. And again, like it honestly took me having number one, experiencing a lot of this stuff and getting frustrated and doing a lot of research, but also having a few guys on our team who come from larger, Big Four corporations and exposing me to how to actually put robust systems in place to build a business and not just a service where you're trading time for money and doing that until you're tired of doing so.
Yeah.
So for us, it's always been about how can we build out these systems. We've been probably investing the last 2 years into building out the most refined, robust systems we possibly can. And it helps a ton. It honestly more than helps. It changes everything to the point where like most of our trainers can take weeks off from being physically in the business and travel and, go on vacation or spend more time with their kids and try other things, build their personal brand more on the basketball side, travel. And for those who don't want to invest even just a little bit of money into it, it makes sense why they don't grow, right? Even if they're a fantastic coach, and I'm sure you see it all the time. We're like, they're a great person, they're a great coach or a great trainer, whatever, but they stay at that level for years, not because it's constrained by them and what they can do, but by the systems and the machine that is the business.
Totally, 100%. And then the biggest thing there too that I love is when you get that time back. Now, who wins? It's the athlete.
Yes.
So
exactly.
You're running a better business. You're making more money. And the athlete wins.
Right. And we had this whole conversation at our retreat this past weekend. Like, again, to go back to what we talked about a little bit earlier, I am not only doing this and helping businesses because we are these money-hungry capitalists. I am truly passionate about freeing up time for coaches and trainers to, yes, make more money, but with making more money on less time, impact more athletes, deliver a better experience, actually invest into their coaching development, which is something that I couldn't do for years. I would say maybe 6 months to a year, I got so overwhelmed with the business that I couldn't learn about basketball, right? Which is crazy because that's always been and still is like my first
and that
priority.
Affects the athlete. Like, how are you improving for the athlete?
Exactly. Right? And then your business goes downhill because you're not actually tapped in with new methods and learning. And so for us, it's all just like, how can we free up time to make more money? And thus, how can this person not only live a better life for themselves, but also help the athlete live a better life for them and do that with more athletes over time?
Totally. 100%. 100%. Yeah, I would say what we see on our end, like totally systems, 100%. That's like overarching. But if I were to like drill down a little bit more, I would probably say pricing.
Yes.
Like a coach, we talked in this podcast about how you're very deliberate and the experience you want to create and how you brought in AAU. And that's an offer. So you looked at the parents' pains and you looked at the market that you're in and you developed an offer that worked really well. So you thought a lot about pricing and how to set up pricing the right way, which then once you set up that offer the right way, you then can have the systems to deliver more to the athletes and to make more money.
Yes.
So I've done thousands and thousands of demos with
I already know.
facility owners across the nation. And I get on the call and, they're just copying what the next coach is doing. They haven't spent any time on thinking about their pricing or what the parents' pain are.
Right.
They're just like kind of like you said, that 6 month to year train where it's like I'm so in the weeds.
Right.
I haven't taken a step back to create a really great offer to run my business that enables me to step out of it.
Correct.
So like to drill down on that even more is like pay per session, right?
Yes.
Oh, hey, anybody who sees my Instagram post can come in and train with me whenever they want.
Right.
Well, you're not ever going to scale anything that way. And
no shot.
So that is what I would say probably I run into the most.
Yeah.
And another great example too is like Alex Hormozy's like blowing up. Like I see a ton of coaches are super interested in him in him teaching his systems. You'll notice, I mean, he basically acquires other large companies, service businesses. But what you'll see a lot of the times is what he does is he goes into these service businesses and he spends all of his time on just reframing the pricing and the offer.
Yep.
Which then lets the systems come into play.
For sure.
And automate everything and scale everything. But yeah, that's probably what I would say I run into the most.
For sure. Now, pricing is, again, like you said, take an average of everyone else around you and then bump it down a little bit so that people will train with you, which is the opposite of what we want to do. We want to take a look at what everyone else is doing, really insulate the price from that equation at first. What are they offering? What else can we offer? And how can we ensure that even the parts of the offer that are the same, we do those things better, which goes back to also having systems to educate your employees or yourself or whatever.
Totally.
And then what is a proper price for that? Not based on the others, but based on what people will pay, but also how much value you're providing.
Yeah.
So rather than making it a race to the bottom where I'm going to be lower, I'm going to be lower, I'm going to be lower, make it a race to the top where how much value can you provide for a reasonable enough price. And that's not saying to price people out of it, because there are always ways that you can provide scholarships.
Totally.
Like I had a conversation at our retreat Sunday with one of our guys who literally his entire mission is to help athletes who cannot afford training train. And I told him, well, look, you're already training people, and a little bit of backstory. He already has like 10, 15 clients who are paying him, but that's not his mission. So I told him, hey, the people who can pay are happy to pay. They want to pay for this. Like
That allows you to do it.
That allows you to then go and start a nonprofit and then scholarship athletes through this. This allows you to develop the time to go and make calls to get grants and donations. You may meet an athlete whose dad is very passionate about this as well and has the money to donate to allow the other athletes to come in, but you'll never do that if you don't build a business.
Totally.
And that's always been, something for me as well, where of course I'm passionate about that side of things as well. And that's pretty clear based on a lot of things that we've done in the past, but we need to ensure that our business is in place and we have all of, the other boxes checked so that we can scholarship athletes. And every year we bring 5 to 6 athletes from around the world for completely free to Miami to train with us and to play AAU and the whole nine. And like the impact is that they experience is insane, but that's not possible without developing a business to then fund that side
100%.
So
100%.
It's a balance.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so another thing on Tactic that I think you're incredible at is creating content. So for those of you who don't know, probably millions of followers across multiple different platforms.
Yeah.
400,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is incredibly difficult. You are a thought leader. You've done an incredible job in creating content.
Appreciate that.
So there's two types. So there's a creator like you.
Yes.
You would fall into the creator. And then there's the business owner and facility owner.
Right.
So let's talk about the facility owner, business owner. How would you advise them to create content and get into that game just in general as a whole? Like what's your advice for the local business owner and content creation?
So there are a few fallacies here, I would say. One, and the biggest one that I'll probably talk about the most, is personal brand equals like a powerful personal brand equals a powerful business brand automatically. I learned this personally when I opened up in Miami and realized that nobody was coming to train with me because of the X amount of followers that I had on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. You have to establish yourself in the local market and not rely on the personal brand that you've developed. And I think where a lot of trainers go wrong is they try to build their personal brand and hope that trickles into their business brand, or they try to build their business brand through the lens of a personal brand or in the same way as a personal brand. And when everything really changed is when we brought our guy Cam in, who's now our content director for all of By Any Means. And he was able to see everything that we do through a different lens of the business brand, not just, me building up my personal brand or the By Any Means brand or the global side of things, whatever you want to call it. Those are kind of the two different distinct sides of content or branding that you could approach it from. So I would say where business branding or what it really boils down to is understanding what makes you different from the competition. So identifying 3 or 4 things max, having different pillars that you want to discuss. So for example, at most of our locations, like detail locations, so actual gyms, culture, rentals, obviously training, and then we have the club side of things, which we kind of insulate. So it's really just those 3 main pillars for the most part. Understanding how to attack each of those, so the pain points behind those, and then building trust behind those with testimonials, with transformation videos, and different ways to build buy-in from there. Versus personal branding is how can you present a concept in a way that spreads across the world.
Yeah.
But for a local business, we don't need to spread across the world. We just need max 5,000 followers who are just people in the local area.
Yeah.
And there's so much hunger for virality for local business owners that they don't post the boring testimonials that they think are boring, but that parents on Facebook are going to love.
Yeah.
They don't post
The views are
transformation
misleading,
videos.
essentially,
Yes,
to the
the
local
views are
coach.
misleading, and ultimately what we tell our clients, whether it's a by any means location or others on our scaling system, like, look, you don't need to have, or I'll put it this way, I would rather have 500 views from 500 people who are our ideal customer profile versus 1 million views from people who aren't even in our local market.
Yeah, totally.
And again, it's misleading. The dopamine hit of going viral is fantastic. However, will it really provide an ROI into your local business?
Yeah, 100%.
So
Yeah.
it's been an interesting journey to see, I guess, both sides of it. Obviously, my main focus is the global branding side of things.
Yeah.
You know, any content that I post is to spread around the world. But I'm obviously talking to our content team every day, who their only goal is to build in local markets. And we have a ton of experience in pretty much every type of market that you can imagine, both in the U.S., outside of the U.S., and have identified really some of the big factors or pillars that build strong, followings in the market.
Yeah, 100%. I would say one thing that we've seen a lot is there's these facilities that run amazing businesses and have no social media, which I actually think is completely fine. I mean,
for sure.
You have to be, again, like we were talking about earlier, creating content is a job.
Yeah.
And to throw that in the mix of running a local sports facility is a lot.
Yep.
It is a lot. So I always thought, like, to the people that have no social media, I love this concept of kind of like a binge bank, where essentially don't think like you need to make this another full-time thing.
Right.
If you just have an Instagram account with 9 great videos, who you are, where you train, why you care, why you're doing this, it could be 6 months old. It doesn't matter, but at least you have that presence.
Yes.
And I'm a parent. I'm like, okay, what facility is this? I can go to the Instagram and it's kind of like a website. Like, oh, cool. I see a video of the founder and why he cares.
For sure.
Now, it's not going to reach people on a local level, but just I think that's a cool tactical idea for a local facility owner who's like, no, you don't need to be like Cole. You don't need to have 1 million followers and create content every day. And that's great if you are, but you just create that, what I call a binge bank. I think that can help your business a ton.
That's a good term.
And it's just kind of like a website. And that's a great short-term thing for the trainers who are overwhelmed with the whole content game.
For sure.
Just do that. You had some other great nuggets in there, really. If you are going to go down the route of creating content for your local business, make sure you're focused on local.
Right.
I would have very specific content pillars that you just stay on like a routine. Like, don't feel like you need to absolutely dominate the content space. Like, you kind of just need to have a presence.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we've developed kind of a like a content playbook for that at all of our locations, where days of the week they choose different pillars to approach it off of, make it very simple. Again, to go back to your idea of like a binge bank, we call it like the digital resume, digital storefront, where, again, even if you're not super active on it, people can go and see. And then if you combine that with digital marketing, paid ads, people are going to be going to your page anyways. We run a lot of like super low budget awareness campaigns where it's just a video, a high performing video, maybe the best video that you've ever posted in the local market.
Totally.
And then you put $150, $200 a month, hopefully more, but you know, as a starter. And that way you are getting reach without creating content.
Totally.
Bringing people back to your page. And then if you get a few clients from that, you can reinvest that into maybe a content creator who comes in twice a month, films videos, gives you 4 videos that you need a month. And that's kind of the starter pack for ones who don't really have the skill, the natural talent, or the natural ability to even consider content, which is a lot of trainers. And to your point, like, you do see a lot of trainers, and we talk, not me personally, but like our sales team and a lot of our like scaling managers talk to plenty of coaches who like, I don't even have an Instagram, but I have 80 clients. And we're like, wow, we need to learn from you how you organically built this thing up. And a lot of that we've kind of refined as well, which just comes down to different word of mouth techniques. But content shouldn't be a super high pressure thing. It shouldn't be a super expensive thing. If you get to the point where you have the profit margins to do so, I would strongly encourage investing into that. Because it can be very, very powerful. But it goes to show how, there are so many different tools and methods to reach new leads that social media is not necessarily the only one.
100%. I just see it more in basketball for some reason. They just love the idea of trying to have hundreds of thousands of followers. It's interesting.
And it's funny because most of the time, the hundreds of thousands of followers will not result in nearly as much of a financial gain as running a super robust local business. And that's what I told, once again, at our retreat a couple of days ago. A lot of those guys are prioritizing going viral to everyone versus building strong. And it is. And my thing is, look, build up your business first to the point where you have 50, 60 clients. You can remove yourself. You have other trained coaches who are running it for you. You have our systems in place to basically run your entire business for you. Then you can actually go and do some cool stuff to post. Because I always say, like, don't post cool stuff, do cool stuff, and then post it.
For sure.
So you can invest in going and traveling and doing something cool or learning. You have athletes who you can show results with. If you have no athletes, how are people supposed to trust you on becoming a better athlete?
Exactly.
You have testimonials. You have the ability to step into a gym with 20 athletes and spark your creativity on the content. But when people start personal brand and then business brand, unless you're in a niche situation, which some people have that, it's tough. It's tough to really scale that. And it's a lot easier to build a strong business first locally and then get into the personal side.
Yeah, 100%. Cool, man. Well, I really appreciate all the time you've given us today.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you.
Where can people find you, hear about you if they don't already know about you?
Yeah, By Any Means Basketball is probably the main place. But for basketball coaching ideas and training ideas, By Any Means Coaches is what we're really investing a lot of time into right now. Just to, like I said, that's probably my biggest passion is helping other coaches. So By Any Means Coaches Instagram is a good spot. And then if you're looking to grow the business, By Any Means Business, you can check it out and get with all of our guys on the business side, where we work with you guys at CoachIQ to grow businesses, and not only grow businesses but create more scalable businesses with better systems that hopefully will take a ton of time off of people's plate. And we've seen insane results with that, so that they can do all the things that we just talked about in this podcast.
That's awesome, man.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming out.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
sure. Long time coming.